Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
Today we're going to be having a look at Victrix French Napoleonic Infantry 1807 to 1812. In our last video we did, I inadvertently called the Greek soldiers Victrix, Perry. They were actually in actual fact Victrix, but I've already mentioned that in the comments. So we'll have a quick look into this box and see what you get. Popping them out. Right, you have all of these. Now in these you get two lots of figure types. Yeah, two lots of figure types. Two lots of sprues, sorry. Right, this sprue is the officer sprue. It's got the options to make voltigeurs, grenadiers out of these chaps here, and that's your actual command. So that means you get 4 commands in the box, and all the rest are infantry. Still slightly more than we need, but it's just by the way. Yeah, the officers look okay. You got a few options for them. You can make each command look individual, although the drummer is kind of set, so other than moving the arms around, there's not much you can do with it. You get these really cool heads. They're for grenadiers with Busby. Not Busby, what do you call the grenadier hat? Bearskin.
Ooh, that's nice.
You get the voltigeur heads.
Oh yeah, that's what Queen's Guard wear, isn't it?
They wear bearskin, yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they don't wear Busby. No, they wear bearskin.
Apparently it wears a ton.
Yeah, but they keep calling it a Busby, but it's not actually a Busby, is it?
No.
It's actually a bearskin, yeah. Anyway, and it's not made out of that anyway. So you get these really nice heads. They're technically for voltigeurs. There's nothing to stop you using them for grenadiers, because grenadiers also wore the shako with a plume. You just paint the plume red instead of the grenadier colour. And you can use those heads for voltigeurs too. You could also use them for grenadiers as well. So it's really up to you what you want to do with them. The officers, that's the officer's sort of coat. The officer's just a standard officer, and that's just really what you get. Not really much else to say about that. So over onto the infantry. They are the infantry bodies. The infantry are just sort of pretty decent normal infantry. You've got one crouching and shooting, and the rest are either marching or sort of generally advancing, walking forward. Very good if you're just going to do men sort of standing in lines, and you can have a few guys firing, so that's good. Head-wise, you have all these heads here. You have the option to either have them in full shako or with shako cover. I'd rather put them in shako cover because we're going to be doing the invasion of Russia, where the shako cover would have been far more useful, given that most of the war was fought in particularly unpleasant conditions. So yeah, that's quite cool. That's okay.
Yep.
Musket wise, they're all armed with the same weapons. There's nothing particularly different, and you have lots of options for the packs, so you can get a lot of variety. There's even one with a pair of shoes on it. Oh, there's 2 with a pair of shoes on it actually. That's cool. So you've actually got shoes on the back of your backpack. The men who marched away from Moscow and froze to death because they were carrying too much kit and got exhausted, the French looted Moscow. And when they went home, their packs were full of stuff they'd stolen, yeah. And they died with their packs full of stolen stuff. So really, their own fault. Yeah, they're quite cool. So that's basically what you get in the box. Now, a few interesting points. You can make yourself a pretty decent force out of this box. Depending on what rules you're using, you could be basing 12 figures to a regiment, which would do great for what you get in the box. You can get that out. or you could do all sorts of other things. You've got lots of options you can do. For us, we would need to get another box to field them properly, because we would make a regiment into 4 units of 12 for the Fusiliers. Each Fusilier company has a different coloured bobble. This bobble thing on the top you can see in the picture. Purple or violet, purple, green, yellow, green and red. Is it? I'll just check. I believe it says on the back. Let's just check. Green, blue, orange and violet. So same thing what I said. Yeah, so that's cool. That's cool. So that's how we're going to do it, but that's, you may not be doing that way, so that doesn't really matter for the purposes of an unboxing video. But you do get a lot of figures in the box. You get 60 figures and you've got lots of options you can do with it. Typically a French regiment will be made up of 6 companies. 4 would be normal Fusilier companies, each with a different bubble. Then you would have a company of grenadiers who were usually the biggest guys and also veterans. So they were the toughest troops, and they would sort of be the ones who actually went into the enemy in combat.
Fall in pursuit.
Yeah, if they were in front, they would be on front on the right hand side, and so that they would go into the enemy. The voltigeur would be on the left, because you would form up to actually fight, and you would, as your regiment advanced, it would typically your voltigeurs would go out in front. Your voltigeurs would fire off a shot. It didn't matter if they aimed or not. And the whole thing about shooting officers is mostly just bucks. The whole idea of voltigeurs was to create a smoke screen for the advancing infantry. So the
so it's hard to hit the head behind.
So you couldn't see the column advancing towards you. So the voltigeurs would pop off their muskets within about 600-700 yards, which is just about musket range. Pop the rifles off, and then the voltigeurs would stand and allow the regiment to go through them. And then as the regiment moved forward, as soon as they got within 700 yards, 600 yards, the British or the Russians, whoever, would begin firing, because that's the ultimate range of their rifles, muskets. So the muskets would start firing into the smoke as the French advanced. Then when the French reached 50 yards, hopefully not having taken too many casualties, because your enemy are firing into a huge...
They normally did.
Yeah, you're taking you're firing into a huge amount of smoke, and muskets are inaccurate. So you're...
They're useless, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty useless. Napoleon wanted to go back to crossbows.
It would be more accurate.
His armaments minister told him that they didn't have the technology to do it. They didn't have the time or the skills to train the people to do it. Wellington wanted to get rid of the musket and give soldiers the bow.
That would be more accurate as well. You could have won Waterloo even
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, I mean seriously, crossbows and bows are way more efficient than a musket.
Because it's like fire, 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 and like crossbow, fire, 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 and then you have musket, fire.
Reload. 3 rounds a minute. Although the French never fired 3 rounds a minute. They only fired 1 round. They only needed to fire 1 round. So
maybe it would help if they did fire 3.
No, they didn't need to, because they weren't standing firing. They were marching forwards as they fired. So the French would carry on advancing. They would get up to the 50-yard mark, which is when muskets begin becoming accurate.
Oof, God, point blank range that.
Yes. And then the front rank would fire and then stand aside, and the next rank would walk through them and fire and stand aside, and the next one would walk forward and you would do that for all 40 ranks.
Why didn't they just kneel?
Why kneel? You just stand aside. And then once you've gone through that, you're now within 10 yards of the enemy, and your grenadiers, who were at the front, are now at the front again, and your voltigeurs have formed at the front, and then your grenadiers in voltigeurs go straight into the enemy with a bayonet after they've been completely pounded by your extremely good musketry.
Well, the guard failed.
The guard were climbing up a cliff at Waterloo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you try climbing a cliff.
And the British charged down.
Yeah, and the British charged down from a cliff. Yeah.
Actually, oh my god, I'd be terrified of that.
That's how Napoleon won all his battles. That's why the French army was so totally awesome at beating people.
I bet it was shocked to him that the British won.
Yeah, why do you keep talking about Waterloo? It's irrelevant. Well, it isn't irrelevant. It ended the war.
I was about to say, what do you mean it's irrelevant? How dare you?
There's 15 years of solid Napoleonic warfare to play with, and everyone plays Waterloo.
Yeah.
One of the most boring battles.
What?
Seriously, Waterloo. You've put that French army up against...
Wait, so this is the person who says Waterloo's crappiest battle, but won't shut up about it, and has a painting on the wall of the very, very, very battle of Waterloo.
It's not my painting, it was my father's.
Yeah, and you took it in and you just stuck it on your wall and haven't moved it since.
My mother was going to sell it at a bring and buy store for 50p.
And every time someone walks into the house, I guess, this is Waterloo, this.
Yeah, because, look, Waterloo, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing over Waterloo. We paint so much stuff for Waterloo, it's unbelievable.
Because it's the most popular battle in the world.
Yeah, everyone plays Waterloo, but there is a massive amount of gaming you can do in the Napoleonic era. There's the whole Eastern Front, Austria, Germany.
So?
You got Spain, which is a little bit more interesting.
No, because no, Waterloo was a turning point of the whole war.
Waterloo ended the war, yeah. Waterloo finally ended the war. But the French army that fought at Waterloo was not the French army that invaded Russia, because it died in Russia. The French army was never up to scratch after the invasion of Russia. Russia killed the French army. Russia kills any army. Anyone who invades Russia dies. I mean, Napoleon was lucky because Paris didn't get turned into a Russian city. That's what happened to the Mongols. The Mongols invaded Russia. What did the Russians do? They destroyed the Mongol Empire and occupied Mongolia.
Well, he doesn't own anything now.
And now Mongolia is just rubble and a few small houses.
Yeah.
Centre of one of the biggest empires of the world is now nothing because the Russians got annoyed. Yeah, so anyway, that is how the French marched to victory, and that's the army you get in here. This army is a particularly good army. In the box you also get the flags. You get several flag sheets, different regiments on it. So it's entirely up to you which one you pick, and to be honest, in 28mm scale, no one notices. There's no uniform difference between regiments. Yes, there are a few foreign regiments which also wear those uniforms, but generally they're just standard French. All regiments wore the same uniform, the same blue, and all regiments had the same kit, so there's no real difference between regiments unless you start going into stuff like light infantry and stuff who wore all blue and things. So it's entirely up to you how you decide to do your regiments. But in the box you've certainly got enough figures to bang out a few regiments, a few black powder units, depending on how you're doing it. As I said, the way we are going to do it, we're going to need a lot more boxes because of the size of the regiments we're going to be doing. But we'll play it by ear.
Yep.
I know what a lot of people do for black powder. They have 6 bases being an entire regiment, and they basically have one for each of the different coloured companies, and then they have one for the grenadiers and then a command unit. And then they have small bases, individual bases for the skirmishers. That's how a lot of people do it. But I'm not really sure, I don't really sure about that one. I'm not sure. I hadn't decided. but the way I'm thinking is that way of going. But as I said, we're going to be doing Russia, so you're going to see Russian infantry pop up soon, and that's going to be interesting. Yeah, we're also going to have a look at the French in Greatcoat, which could also be good. Although these French are earlier than Waterloo, there is actually nothing to stop you using these figures for the Waterloo campaign if you want to do that.
Everybody else does.
Yeah, well, everyone else does. If you do that, I would suggest you use the covered shakos, because at Waterloo the French were all actually in greatcoat. They were all in winter gear. So they would have had covered shakos and they would have had a greatcoat on. But you can use these figures for Waterloo, there's no reason why not. I know the film, yes, I know the film. They're all in nice shiny uniforms. In reality, it was throwing it down, it was terrible weather, and everyone was in coats. But it just wouldn't have looked good on film, would it?
No.
No, it would look rubbish.
So it looks shiny and cool.
Yeah, and it would be hard telling the different units apart, other than the flags. Yeah.
Hardly anyone knows about the flags, so...
Yeah, they could pretty much pick out the British flag, they could probably tell the German flags. Yeah, given that most of the Prussian army was actually in British uniform, it would get all confusing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were the primary supplier of Prussian army, so they all wore stovepipe hat and stuff. You see in the books they're all in specialised Prussian uniform. In reality, most of them were in British stovepipes or Belgic shakos, and yeah, that's just reality meeting other stuff. But I'm really into Napoleonics. I love Napoleonics, and we don't at the moment do Napoleonics because we got rid of all our Waterloo stuff before we started doing YouTube, which was kind of a mistake because we could have done YouTube with our Napoleonic stuff.
Yeah, and then I could prove to you all that I win every battle.
Yeah, he won every battle. He won.
I won all time as the British. I won all time as Napoleon.
Yeah, well, one of the times you won with the British was due to horrific dice rolls on my part.
Oh yeah, I charged my worst cavalry against Napoleon's guard. Wiped the guard out and captured Napoleon.
No, you actually charged with the worst cavalry in the world at the time, who were the Belgian heavy cavalry, who are all sort of toffs and the sons of millionaires in Belgium. And they were idiots, no one liked them. And these guys actually bet the French guard. I don't know how they did it. Just
took Napoleon and
got
dice British lines.
Rolled all ones and you rolled all sixes. It's not fair. Just like totally not fair. And you took La Belle Alliance and Napoleon was inside, so you took him prisoner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the game was over. It was a really short game, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I couldn't.
You can't move your infantry because you took out Napoleon. So your centre infantry couldn't move because their general just got captured.
I just kept rolling really bad command dice. I couldn't move any of my French units, and my French corps was just sort of sat there. Devour didn't move the entire battle. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all besides the point. This is our new thing we're going to be doing. We also stock these. If you want any of them, check out our eBay store. Just scroll down and click on eBay. So these are going to be a very fun one to do, and also we're going to be doing these figures all messy, covered in mud and stuff, weathering. So I will do a few. I'll do a couple of painting videos if you want, and showing you the best way to weather your troops, the best way to make troops look like they've been crawling through mud and stuff. Don't get to do that much because most of our customers want us to paint figures all shiny and bright as if they're on a parade ground. Whereas in reality they would have been covered in blood and mud and disgusting stuff, food. They'd wear their uniform for weeks on end. Yeah, I like weathering figures. So we're going to be weathering them, and yeah, I'm really going to enjoy painting these because I love painting Napoleonics, and especially 28mm Napoleonics. and these are quite nice figures, so it's going to be good. Anything to add?
No.
No, is that it? Right, so was that a long video or a short video? It was quite long, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would be shorter than that. So that's what you get in the box. You get 60 figures. For the price, you get a lot of figures. Like with all Victrix stuff, you do get loads of figures in Victrix boxes. We've just got some Romans and some Roman Italian allies, and you just get loads and loads of figures. They'll make us 6 Hail Caesar regiments. So this will make us I think this will make us 3 full units, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
For yeah, so we'll need another box to make the full thing. So yeah, I think this will be quite good. And that's it. That's the end of the unboxing video. I hope it's kind of helped. Any questions, just leave them in the question bar. We're always open to people asking us questions or telling me stuff, because we like stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep, so this has been Imperator Vespasian, and he's going to do the outro.
So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of Napoleonic French infantry.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
See ya.